Today's a bit of a different video than what I normally do. I normally talk about Destiny 2, but today I wanted to talk about Marvel Rivals because I got to play in the Marvel Rivals CBT. I think you're thinking of something else, but I got that too last night. But yeah, I played the Marvel Rivals closed beta test. I did want to stream it, but my schedule didn't line up with me being able to do that because I got into the beta like the last couple days of it. But, the impressions I'm left with so far from the beta of this game, I'm impressed. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Overall, if it's free, definitely pick it up if you have the chance, whether it's an open beta or the full release. If it's free to play, definitely pick it up. Once you have to start paying for it, that's a little bit different of a story because this game is, I can already tell, going to be absolutely loaded with microtransactions, be it sprays or skins, battle passes, all that stuff. So if there is a sticker price on the product, that's going to get a little more rough if I'm being honest. But something I am willing to pay for is Advanced GG, whether it be the focus formula to help me, stay awake and keep focus on the task at hand, grind through editing videos, writing scripts, whatever it is, or the energy formula for whenever, I'm out doing things and, I just need a little pick-me-up. Hydration to keep me well hydrated. All you have to do is use code Spycer10 at checkout to get 10% off. Check out my referral link down below in the comments and in the description, and that will take you to the website. Anyways, huge fans of Advanced GG. Thank you for paying me, Advanced GG. Anyways, moving on. I'm going off just a little list, few 5 bullet point thing that I just have on my other monitor of things to talk about. So it might get a little rambly. Sorry about that. But, I just want to do this off the top of my dome. I don't want to super analyze it because it's a video game. It's about having fun, in my opinion. And have I been having fun with Marvel Rivals? Yeah, a ton. And that's kind of weird because I have been playing it solo. None of my friends were able to get into the beta. I was the only one that was able to snag a key because, honestly, the system they put in place to give out the beta keys kind of sucked hard, fat, honkin' nuts, if I'm being completely honest with you. But the game itself is really fun. And I don't usually play a lot of games solo, especially not hero shooters, even though I do love them. But I was having a lot of fun playing solo in Marvel Rivals. Speaking of hero shooters, I just want to vet myself here. So when I was a wee boy, how long ago was this? Probably like 15 years ago or something like that. When I was a child, I really enjoyed TF2. I played a lot of TF2 with my brother. And then, later on, Overwatch would come out. Played that a lot. Overwatch, they just stopped updating it, and it got bad. And I found Paladins. And I'm going to be honest, I'm on a real Paladins kick right now. I've been playing a lot off camera, off stream. Paladins Champion of the Realm kind of slaps. But, when Marvel Rivals comes out, it'll definitely probably be better than that. But, just vetting myself there. Overwatch 2, kind of bad, kind of boring, kind of really unfun. Paladins, it scratches this special itch I got. It's super fun. Marvel Rivals, though, I can play it solo, still have a ton of fun playing it, and that does mean a lot to me. So if that helps you see the world at all in this, yeah. But some more on Marvel Rivals that you may be wondering. I'm going to compare it most to Overwatch because I feel like that's probably the hero shooter that most people associate with. So, how does Marvel Rivals do things in comparison to Overwatch 2? Well, it's 6v6 instead of 5v5. All right. The big thing that people do criticize about Marvel Rivals, though, which I think is weird, is that it's in third person. I don't mind third-person games as long as they feel good. There's just like a couple of times where my brain just can't flick that button between first person and third person. And I just can't aim. But, after like 1 or 2 matches in a session, you're good to go, honestly, at least for me. So the third person, for me, that does not detract. As long as your third person gameplay is good and fluid, it doesn't matter. I would rather have very good third person than janky first person. There's some people that don't agree with that. Anyways, that superficial difference aside, Marvel Rivals 6v6, no role queue, at least at the moment. Things could change. So that means that you can just pick whatever kind of character you want. You're not locked to numbers. Although the most success I have, like usually when I win games, it's when I have 2 tanks, 2 damages, 2 supports. They call them different things. It's Vanguard for tank, Strategist for support. I don't even know what term they use for damage, but like they're the damages, you know what I mean? This could be a symptom of Overwatch's 5v5, specifically when it's comboed with the role queue, because in Paladins, another 5v5 hero shooter, playing a tank doesn't feel like dog shit. Overwatch, it does. Now, in Marvel Rivals, it's pretty fun. I like Doctor Strange a lot. Doctor Strange is really fun. Venom is really fun, too. And Magneto's pretty solid, especially if you have a Scarlet Witch on your team. I really couldn't get into Thor very much. I'm not a huge fan of how Hulk plays or, Groot. But, throw me Doctor Strange, I'm going to have fun. Throw me a Venom game here and there, that's fun. If I got Scarlet Witch on my team, I'm fucking locking Magneto. That shit is so fun. Which, I should probably discuss team-ups. Yeah, team-ups are a special thing in Marvel Rivals where certain characters match up and buff each other's abilities. That's super cool, and I would love to see them explore this more, but I understand that it could be a balancing issue, kind of like how the Magneto thing is now. A lot of people think Scarlet Witch is bad. I don't think she's bad, but, when comparing her to Magneto, she is the weaker of the two. But, with the team-up active, Magneto just gets an extra ability, and he throws like chaos swords, and they're so strong. Like, you melt tanks with them. It is kind of ridiculous. But, it is what it is. I would still love to see more team-ups. It helps you be more invested in the characters. It makes the characters feel more like characters. Which, they do have the advantage of pulling from the Marvel canon, which, again, has been going on for almost 100 years, It's closer to 100 than, 50, So, Marvel's been around a while, so these characters do have defined relationships between them, and it allows them to do some cool stuff compared to Overwatch, where it's like you might get a voice line between 2 characters, but you don't have a story mode in the game to tell you that character relationship that goes on. It's just kind of the character interactions in Overwatch just don't really do anything for me. But something I do got to give Overwatch, I feel like the voice line spam in Overwatch is more sprinkled, more they don't just throw it at you constantly. Marvel Rivals is really fun, but it would be so much more enjoyable if there was little cooldowns on certain voice lines. Because there's I don't even know which abilities it is, but there's some abilities that are on 2 or 3 second cooldowns that barely do anything, but there's a loud ass fucking voice line paired with it, and it's like, okay, I'm tired of hearing this character's voice. Chill. So that's just one thing, is I wish the less important voice lines and sound cues were just either quieter or they didn't scream it constantly. But, some two of my biggest points of why I like Marvel Rivals more than its main competitor, Overwatch 2, is the diversity in character kits and the diversity in character design. So, Marvel Rivals, using a bunch of Marvel characters throughout time and all that. So, yeah, a lot of abilities are very different from one another compared to Overwatch, where it feels like over the past, I don't even know how many years Overwatch has been out, but it feels like, especially with the newer characters, they're just looking at older characters and saying, okay, what if this character had the abilities from over here and over here and over here? Huh? Which, on face value, isn't that bad, but it makes some boring ass characters, in my opinion. And it's not like all the time that they're doing it, but like Juno played the playtest for that character. She's really fun, but she's just kind of like different Lucio. You know what I mean? It's not even like that huge of a change. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but it's mostly in the damages. Whenever a new damage comes out, or not even comes out, because Venture feels pretty different from a lot of damages, but there's like 5 damages that do the same thing. Ashe is just better McCree. Better Cassidy. And it's just little things like that. They reworked Bastion, and he's just kind of like a different soldier now. And that, I'm not a huge fan of that. Marvel Rivals, though, of course, I don't think they have as many characters as Overwatch does. I don't think. But, over time, they'll add more characters. Hopefully they add, like, maybe new mechanics, new things to help differentiate characters' kits. So later on in time, when they add more characters, they all feel different to play from one another. I feel like that's something important to me in a hero shooter. And that's where TF2 excels, especially because, it's more of a class-based shooter than a hero shooter at this point. I feel like those genres have split further from each other. And TF2 kind of falls more in the class shooter because you can change like your melees and your weapons and all that on your characters, which fits more into the class-based shooter than hero shooter, at least in my opinion. But yeah, that's where TF2 excels because there's 9 characters that you can pick from. So I can see where Overwatch has problems because there's so many characters, it's hard to make them different from one another. In Rainbow Six Siege, weirdest hero shooter, but yeah, it has a problem of just introducing characters that do the exact same thing as another character. They do it all the time. Paladins kind of does it, but at the same time, it's like just different enough, or they introduce just enough few new things. It's like, okay, I like this character. It's kind of new. I think it's just part of it is a lot of characters in Overwatch look samey. And I know part of that is because Overwatch has its own distinct art style that looks different from other things and its own design philosophies when it comes to visuals and stuff. But like, like they don't have magic in Overwatch until they do, but it's also not magic and they never explain that. Whereas Marvel Rivals is just, Marvel is an eclectic, I don't even want to call it an IP, but like, Marvel is eclectic. It has all sorts of different genres within it, all sorts of different design philosophies between characters and character families, like Spider-Man. All the spider characters have similarities between them, but they're all unique in their own right. And then you have like the Asgardians. They have their own design philosophies to them. And then you get into all these other characters that, look like the characters are paired with, but they all come together in one giant universe, and somehow it kind of all works compared to Overwatch, where everyone just kind of looks the same. Okay? That's what I'm getting at, is Overwatch, a lot of stuff looks kind of samey. Not that you can't tell what character's what between them. Where Rainbow Six Siege, that's more of a problem because they're all in, modern day military gear compared to, other more hero shooters where characters have, special silhouettes, special appearances, special items on them to make them look different from one another. But Marvel Rivals, they're Marvel characters, so they're all icons in their own right, and they're all under one umbrella. But we got a bunch of tiny little groups, and that's something I really like with Marvel Rivals, is the characters all feel like they belong in the game visually, but they don't look the fucking same. There is storytelling within the designs of the characters, and there is in Overwatch also, but not like there is inherently with Marvel characters. And also the absolute fucking balls on is NetEase that released Marvel Rivals to put Jeff the Landshark in. Like, honestly, I didn't know Jeff the Landshark. Like, I knew of the character. I didn't know where Jeff the Landshark originated from. By the way, apparently Gwenpool. Not a comic series I've read. So, I didn't know. But, we're never getting a character ever like Jeff the Landshark in, like, Overwatch. Overwatch takes itself, a little more seriously. Not that Marvel, it's so weird. Like Overwatch will have its events where it tries to be goofy, but it just kind of, in my opinion, doesn't succeed in that. Where Marvel Rivals feels like it takes itself seriously and envelops itself in its own world and its own universe. But you have, a spider mech suit fighting a shark dog. You know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid and weird, but, like, it just kind of fits. Now, the game isn't perfect, so I want to get into some of that. The map destruction and rebuilding, I like the idea, but sometimes when rubble falls, it falls in massive chunks. I kind of wish when it hit the ground it turned into rubble, because, oh my god, the amount of bugs I've seen because half a fucking bridge just fell and it didn't break into any more parts. And it's just like getting dragged along by the payload, and it's just annoying. So I wish they would do some stuff about the map destruction to make it more enjoyable, I guess. But that's just me. Performance issues are also kind of common, at least on PC. I don't know how it is on console. It's probably a little better. But the optimization on PC is kind of god-awful, but that is the whole point of a beta. It'll probably... I'm willing to bet that it'll definitely be better by the time there's an open beta or release. I wasn't having too many issues. I know a lot of people were, but I have like a 3070. I have a decently modern computer. I had a little above mid-range computer like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I got it like 2 years ago, and it's like slightly above mid-range. So I'm running it 60 frames a second. I had it on uncapped, and it still capped it at 60. There's some goofiness happening there. The game is super loud too, and it will cry at you every time you open the launcher saying, hey, look, man, you got to close every tab of everything you have on because you're running out of the memory, which it's not. It doesn't know what it's talking about. But, you know, it isn't optimized great. The game does look good. I know a lot of people are going to be like, it looks bad because it's not fucking... It don't look like real life. And it's stylistic, and I like stylistic things. So I do enjoy that. But yeah, the optimization is not great, and I hope they go back, optimize it some more. Maybe compress that file a little bit more. It's not big. It's not like terribly big, but I would appreciate a smaller file size. I always would. Team-ups are a super cool mechanic. You know, you have two characters that, you know, form together to create a new passive or a new active ability or triggered ability, whatever you call it. That's super cool. It's kind of hard to balance, though, because you have to nerf the synergy. But if you nerf the synergy, one character might be absolutely worthless. Because, honestly, if the Scarlet Witch Magneto combo gets nerfed, Scarlet Witch is going to see more trouble than Magneto would. But also, I'm not really reaching for Magneto all the time if I don't already have a Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know if they could even nerf it, because it would nerf both characters. So maybe they got to buff the entire kits of both those characters just to nerf that. Yeah. I think it's meant to be a trade-off, but sometimes it's just like, well, I got to take it. And if one player switches off, you both have to switch off. And it's just kind of... I hope they flesh it out more. And maybe we have some, like, counter, like, not team-ups, but counters, you know? Like, I'm not exactly sure how all Spider-Man works in Marvel Rivals, but you constantly see Spider-Sense over his head, like his sprite. So maybe Venom doesn't trigger it, because that's, you know, a thing that's constant from the comics. Spider-Man can't sense Venom. Maybe he also can't sense Penny, and, you know, because... Or, yeah, he would be able to sense Penny. But, like, you know, maybe some characters have advantage over others. Just, like, not huge advantages, but just, like, little ones. You know what I mean? Just small little edges over other characters. I think that could be cool. I think that would be an even larger balancing nightmare than, you know, the team synergies are. So, probably not that, at least at the moment. But other balance things that are genuinely kind of frustrating. One of these, it's just two characters I pointed out here, but the issues are a little wider. Honestly, sometimes tanks melt too fast. I'm just going to say that. There's a lot of damage happening occasionally. Magneto especially does get melted. Hulk, if you know how to hit the S key on a keyboard, Hulk cannot hit you. So he just kind of gets melted if damages see him. And Hulk, you know, Groot's fine. It just feels like some of the tanks don't have large enough health bars or ways to heal themselves or shield themselves while also doing other things. Like Venom's great at that. You know, he can dive in. He can get a massive shield. He can attack enemies. He can grab them. He just does a ton of stuff. So if every tank was at the level of survivability Venom was without, like, the Doctor Strange or the Magneto shield in front of you, because I get that's what it's there for, but it's just inconvenient when you're in a fight and you're solo, whereas Venom can, you know, solo. But when it comes to characters being overtuned, there's two I think of. They're both damages. Punisher, I think that is the one everyone points to. Punisher, he's kind of nuts. He has 300 health, which is more than most damages, I believe. So maybe that could be reduced. His turret does a lot of damage, but Doctor Strange counters it pretty fucking hard. Yeah, Punisher just does a ton of damage, though. Like, his damage output is crazy. Honestly, it feels like he does less damage in his ult than not in his ult. But yeah, if Punisher got nerfed, I would not be surprised because he is kind of ridiculously good as a damage. The other character I'm going to point out is Iron Man. I wish I got my Iron Man gameplay recorded, but oh my god, it's easy to play Iron Man. So Iron Man does a lot of damage, and he does it really fast, and it's pretty constant. So he has high sustain and high burst combined. That's not including the fact that he flies, which really isn't a problem in like Overwatch. Like Pharah is a high damage character, and that's perfectly fine in Overwatch because you have a structure where, you know, there are actual counters to that. Diva is a pretty good counter to flyers, I think, right? Then you have Cassidy, you have Ashe, you got Soldier, Bastion, you got all these hit scans that are really good at taking down flyers. Whereas in Marvel Rivals, we have, I think, more flyers, or at least floaters, than we do in Overwatch. Yet, we don't have as many characters that can deal with them at that range. Or with hit scan. So that is something that needs to be addressed. Either give flyers less health, or give us more options to deal with them. Not that there's no options, but like, you know, it's kind of annoying sometimes. And part of it is that third person versus first person switch in my brain, maybe. Like, I can take down Pharahs if I'm playing Overwatch 2 pretty easily as Ashe, but I haven't found my equal to that in Marvel Rivals, you know? And I don't even think Iron Man's like particularly broken, but genuinely the easiest win of my life and one of the easiest aces and MVPs I've ever gotten was as Iron Man, because he's just really good. People have a hard time hitting you. Your shots deal a lot of damage, and you could always just use the laser beam if you're doing single target damage, and it does a lot of damage. So I'm not saying he needs like super nerfed. He probably doesn't even need nerfed. Honestly, if they just add like a couple more characters with hit scan, Punisher is right there, and he does a lot of hit scan damage. But, you know, that's one character on the roster in one role. Luna Snow, I have some pretty decent aim with against flyers sometimes. But, like, tanks really don't have much of an option against flyers, and it's a little rough, you know? But, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say negative about Marvel Rivals, other than, like, how you got access to the beta. But, you know, I'm hopeful for an open beta or a full release sometime kind of soon. I had a ton of fun in the closed beta, and I would love to, you know, queue up with my friends and play all together on comms, communicating, strategizing, forming team comps, getting a little zany even, getting to that Thunderdome with fucking bullshit in our heads and, you know, popping off. That's what I'm hoping for. It's a ton of fun. If you have a chance to check it out, check it out. It's really fun. Also, you should check out Advanced GG, baby. Spycer 10 for 10% off of your order. Haha. Thank you for the money, Advanced GG. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I know this is different from normal, but I do want to try out some more variety stuff. This just seemed like something I could do right now. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Check out Marvel Rivals, and I'll see you next time.